In this video, I will show you how you can apply the Taylor rule. Let's start by stating the Taylor rule and writing it down. So we have the nominal interest rate set by the Fed is equal to some real interest rate target, R star, plus the current inflation pi, plus 1/2 times the output gap in percent, typically written as y minus y bar, plus 1/2 times the inflation gap, which means current inflation minus some inflation target. Let me quickly talk a little bit about the output gap because that's probably the most difficult part on this equation. In the standard definition, this is the log of GDP minus the log of potential GDP, which gives us the percentage of how much current GDP is above or below potential GDP. A different way to interpret this is to say, okay, let's assume where the economy should be. If we were growing at 2% for the past 20 years, then you would assume that the economy should grow at 2% as well. If it grows faster, then we probably have a positive output gap because GDP goes above where it was based on trend. If our GDP growth goes below 2%, then we probably have a positive output gap. And in this simple example, if we have 2% growth in every period except for one, and in that one period we only grow by 1% at the very end, then this output gap will be minus 1%. The exact estimates for potential GDP are not always the same. On top of that, these weights of 1/2 and 1/2 might be different in different setups of the Taylor rule. Okay, so let's go through an example to figure out what interest rate the Federal Reserve should set. Let's assume the real interest rate is 2%. Let's assume that the current inflation is 2.5%. Let's assume that currently output is 1 percentage point above potential. And let's assume that the inflation target is 2%, which is the current inflation target of the Fed. Okay, if we put all of this together, we can now calculate where the interest rate should be. We got 2% plus 2.5% plus 1/2 times 1% plus 1/2 times 2.5% minus 2% is 0.5%. Adding all of this up, we get 2 plus 2.5 is 4.5, plus 1/2 times 1 is 1/2 is 5%, adding everything together, and plus 1/4%, so we get 5.25%. Thank you for watching.